Hey there, lovelies, it's Sarcasm the Sickness, and today I am, well, coming at you with another speed drawing, and, this one I actually started with a base, so, that's why, when we popped into this, I already had a decent sketch down here, but, the base, of course, is not my photograph and is not mine to use and make money off of, so I didn't want to, disrespect the original photographer by doing that, So here we are. I've used a base, and over top of that base, I have am drawing, sorry, three of my three main characters, I suppose, from my story. That's still kind of just nicknamed Project Zero right now, because I still haven't really thought of a title. I'm so bad at titles, I really am. And names. And names. It took me forever to think of names for these guys. I mean, come on, I was gonna call the the main character Zero. That's so stupid. Anyway, I want to thank everybody who watched my last video and gave me suggestions and stuff, and some of you gave me some encouraging words, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the suggestions. And one of those suggestions actually was talking a little bit more about Project Zero. And while I don't want to reveal a lot, because I want the story to be fresh and new, and I don't want people to come into it knowing exactly what's gonna happen. But I can talk about it a little bit. I can talk a little bit. I have a bad feeling that this video is going to be a little rambly. Like, I have a feeling I'm going to jump back and forth between topics, and that's partially because I don't want to reveal too much, and I'm probably going to end up stopping myself from saying things that, honestly, like, I would love to talk, like, at length about this story. I really would. But, like, that would ruin everything. That would ruin the surprise. That would ruin the shock value. That would really just kill the fun, I think. But, yeah. Let's just jump into this. We'll just cut the chit-chat and just dive right in. Now, the characters you're seeing here... Oh, I think this is the part where I messed up. Oh, this is fun. I get to watch myself mess up again. Anyway, these three characters, my main three here, are Nimon, who is on the end, on the right here, Ilanon, who I am now fixing and putting in the middle. I guess when I was originally drawing this, I forgot how I wanted the characters to be lined up. I actually wanted Ilanon, the second member of Nimon's race, or species here, that is actually going to be, like, in this story, like, really involved in the story. And then the one kind of cuddling them both here is Tequo. And, he's actually a different race. These guys, I haven't, like I said, I've got so much I've got to figure out. I haven't decided what I'm going to call their race, because I haven't decided what I'm going to call their planet. So, that's kind of important. I imagine I'm probably going to have to create, like, a lot of different species for this story. I've already got a few underway. I mean, besides the main, like, some of the main characters here. I want to include a few humans in it, just to kind of, I don't know, play off of the whole, like, oh, people have been abducted by aliens kind of thing. Like, I think that would be kind of fun. Just to mix it up a little bit, just to mix it up. I don't know, I guess I should talk about the main premise of the story. Obviously I don't want to reveal too much, but the biggest, like, driving plot of the story is Nimon leaving his planet, which is, like, I suppose, like, when humans were in, like, their tribal, like, Native American kind of, like, nomadic, that kind of stage in life. Like, that's where his whole planet is at this point. So, like, they have intelligence, but they're still rather primal in the way they do things. But, their planet gets visited by a vastly more intelligent and, advanced species who offers Nimon a chance to leave this lifestyle and, and go and explore new and fantastic places. And Nimon, being a child at that point, and a very happy child, like a child who has grown up with virtually no problems in his life and has such a calm and gentle disposition. Maybe not calm, maybe more like naive. But he's got a very cheerful disposition, and he's just so excited about life and about, like what's going on out there beyond his planet and beyond the stars that he can even see. And so when these aliens come and give him this opportunity, he's jumping at it. He is so excited for this. And that's kind of the beginning of the story, is just that. This young kid deciding, you know what? It's time to make a change. It's time to go. And of course, as a little kid and as somebody who knows nothing about the world outside of his world, he obviously doesn't know what he's getting into. And he's very, like I said, he's very naive. He's grown up very sheltered and very just generally okay with things, and nothing really bad has ever really happened to him. And so he just kind of expects that life is going to be like that. That life is going to be this happy-go-lucky, wonderful place that everything, that, maybe he'll have to struggle sometimes, but in the end, everything will generally work out. And the story basically goes through his discovery that this is not always true. That life isn't always, rainbows and ponies, and sometimes you have to make sacrifices, and sometimes bad things happen to good people. And it's not about, not having these things happen to you. It's about rising above these things and becoming stronger and becoming better as a result of it. And so that's kind of basically Nimin's driving force here. Of course, there's other characters involved. Ilanon, the second one here that I mentioned, he also comes from the same planet, and he's a little bit older when he is invited to leave. Of course, Nimin is the first to leave the planet. The same alien species that took Nimin away, comes again to research this planet, and this time, Ilanon is the one who jumps ship. Or jumps onto the ship, sorry. But, Ilanon is a little bit different, because, like I said, he's a little bit older, and he's had more time to realize that life isn't always super great. In fact, Ilanon is rather disliked among his own tribe, and he's not from the same tribe as Nimin. He's probably from across the planet. Like, they would have never met in their normal life. But in his tribe, Ilanon was picked on. He was bullied. He wasn't considered the most useful, so he wasn't well liked among his fellow people. Ilanon is rather timid and rather kind of a wuss, I suppose. And he can be a little bit grumpy, but it's mostly because of the ill treatment he's received during his life. He isn't naturally a grump. But he is naturally timid and naturally shy about things. And so the biggest reason that he leaves the planet, despite, being so shy and just like afraid of things, is because he feels like he doesn't have a place anymore in his tribe. He feels like nobody there really cares about him and would really miss him if he was gone. And so he has this one little glimmer of hope in his heart that says, maybe if I leave, maybe if I go with these creatures, I will find a better life. I will find a better existence. Unfortunately, he kind of immediately regrets that. He immediately turns around and goes, like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I've just abandoned my entire family. I've abandoned, my entire tribe. Like, what if they needed me for something? And he feels extreme guilt from making this decision, even though, the circumstances of him living in the tribe were what drove him to make the decision. So he's a complicated character. He deals with a lot of internal struggle throughout his story, and his driving plot is, trying to overcome this self-confidence flaw and this like heavy guilt that he feels from being his own person and making his own decisions. He feels like he owes something to the tribe, despite the fact that, he really wasn't being treated like, well there. And the last main character is Tequo. Honestly, I'm still working on a lot of his plot. He's a mystery to me still. But he's the grump of the group. He really is. He's such a butt. He's had at least from what I've thought through so far, he's had a rather tough past. He's lost people that he's really cared about, and his species is very different from Nimon and Elanon's, and has very special qualities that are not quite unique to their species, but not many species share these qualities. Of course, I don't really want to get into it because it's such a huge part of the plot, unfortunately, so I'm sorry. But Tequo, when Nimon eventually meets him, Tequo comes in further into the story. But Tech, which is his nickname is Tech, he is, when Nimon meets him, he is working as a nurse. And he's like, which is weird, like, because, you know, he doesn't seem like the type that would care about anybody and wants to have to care about somebody, like, as their job. But, I suppose it's kind of like deep inner meaning, like, sure, he's a grump, but he actually does care about others and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, Tequo is a nurse, and he, his plot is kind of, it's kind of like discovering, I guess, how to deal with the things that have happened in his past and how to move forward from them. Which is rather similar to Ilanon's plot, but in his case it's more of like a discovery on like how his, not so much how his past affects his future. I guess it's about like how to not let his past affect his future. Whereas Elanon's story is more about, you know, moving on from his past and embracing his future, the future that he chose. So everybody has their own, you know, individual story to it, which is fun. It's a lot of fun. I really love having dynamic characters that for one are forced to change throughout the story. Like having a character that stays the same throughout the entire story is just kind of boring. Like it means that they didn't learn anything during their adventure. They didn't grow, you know, during their journeys and during their struggles and trials. And I mean, if your character doesn't have a chance to grow, if they're not struggling, then really there's no plot. I mean, like, what are you gonna do? Just write a story about a character going to the store and, you know, and everything's okay and having a decent job and coming home and everything's happy and they just live a happy life? That's boring. Who wants to read that? I mean, we all want that for ourselves. We want a happy life with very little struggle, but it's not interesting to, like, to read about and to watch or whatever. I guess that's something I can talk about too. I have not quite decided how I want to present the story. I was thinking about, like, you know, the original, you know, introduction video that I did. You know, it was kind of a, not quite an animatic. It was just, you know, like, images and speaking over it. I've been thinking about doing that. I've been thinking about doing it in, like, a graphic novel kind of style, where it's an image and then you read the text over top of it. That would be a little bit easier for me because then I do not have to find voice actors for things. And I would love to make this a huge scale thing. I would love to have voice actors. I would love to have, you know, like I would love to make this a really big deal because the story really means a lot to me. I'm still in the process of finishing writing it, or writing down the main things and then fleshing it out from there. But obviously I have to kind of I have to be grounded in where I'm at in writing the story, but still look towards the future and think about, like, well, what do I want to do with it? So yeah, I've been thinking about making it really big, but I've been thinking also about making it a job that I can handle by myself. I am not sure if I want to go the route of making it a comic. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like, I mean, like, I like the comic style, and it's a fun way to tell a story, but I feel like that's not exactly what I need for this. I feel like I need it to be something different. Like I was saying, like a graphic novel kind of style. Obviously it's still a lot to think about. Obviously it's still pretty far down the road. I'm still thinking about these characters constantly, dude. Like when I'm at work and and it's not a busy day or whatever, or I'm doing dishes in the back of the kitchen there, like I am always thinking about like these characters, and I'm thinking about things that I've already written down, and whether or not I like the way that is, or if I should change a certain part. And I'm thinking about like, okay, well, now that I've decided that this is gonna happen, what happens as a result of that, or what happens in this character's mind as opposed to that character. And there's just so much, and it's so much fun, it really is. And especially since I'm building this whole world from the ground up, because like I'm not basing this on Earth, I'm not basing it on even Mars, and it's not even in our solar system, probably not even in our galaxy. And that's amazing. That is so much fun to be able to have just a blank slate and say, well, you know what? This exists because I said it exists. So I'm just really excited about this story, and I'm actually glad I got to talk about that a little bit. It got me thinking about some more things. I hope you guys are excited about it. I mean, I don't want to hype it up too much right now, because like I said, it's going to be a while until I can really get this in motion. And honestly, even when I do start working on the actual drawing and writing of the story, I want to get like 1 or 2 chapters finished before I even start releasing it. I would like to have my own website for it, but these are all things I've got to think about. These are all just a lot of things I've got to think about regarding this, but just letting you know, I'm still working on it, and I'm glad that you guys are interested in it. I really am. And I guess I'm just about at the end of this video here. There will be a second part to this video, actually, because in this one I do not color these guys, because it took like an hour to do these, to get this far, to draw this much. So I'm gonna do a second video later on down the line where I color it, and it's gonna look amazing, I hope, because I worked so hard on this, I don't want to mess it up. Anyway, in the comments section, tell me, have you guys ever written a story? Whether it be like for a school project or just, like on your own. You don't have to go into too much detail, but it'd be cool to know if there's other fellow writers out there. And if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you would leave a like on this video. And if you are new to my channel, feel free to subscribe and check out some other stuff. Anyway, guys, have a good one. See ya!